Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Subcommittee on K-12 Higher Education CIP. We are here today to close another couple of budgets. If I could please, I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. And if I could please have staff call the roll. Thank you.
Senator Cannizzaro.
Here.
Senator Dondero Loop.
Here.
Senator Kiefer.
Here.
Senator Ratty. Senator Sievers-Gansert.
Here.
Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson. Assemblyman Frierson.
Here.
Assemblywoman Gorlow.
Here.
Assemblyman Hafen.
Here.
Assemblywoman Howdigi.
Here.
Assemblyman Levitt.
Here.
Assemblyman Roberts.
Here.
And Chair Carlton.
And I am here. I did see Miss Ratty Senator Ratty turn on her camera. So I believe she is present, and please mark other members present as they arrive. So good morning, committee members. We are here to close a couple more budgets. So as we did yesterday, those will now be uploaded to Nellis. So you can go ahead and pull those documents down. We'll give everyone a few minutes. We know this is a new process. So we'll go into recess for about 10 minutes. We'll let everybody get the chance to do that. If anyone has any technical difficulties, please reach out and we'll try to help you. So with that, if I could have broadcast services put us into recess until 8:15 to allow everyone to get their documents. Thank you.
Chair, we are unmuted and you may begin when ready.
Thank you very much, Broadcast Services Committee members. I believe I've gotten a thumbs up from all of you as far as having your documents. So I think we are ready to proceed. Good job getting it done. We'll get this procedure figured out yet. So with that, I'd like to go to our staff that'll be walking us through the documents. So if you'd like to go ahead and begin.
Good morning. For the record, my name is J. Marie Mangova from the LCB Fiscal Analysis Division, and I'm here today to present the closing documents for the State Public Charter School Authority and the State Public Charter School Loan Program. Starting on page 3 is the State Public Charter School Authority budget, which was heard by the subcommittee on February 9, 2021. There's only one major closing issue for this budget. The governor recommends reserve reductions of $526,001 and federal grant revenue of $331,536 over the 2021-23 biennium for 4 new full-time positions and associated operating and travel expenditures. The agency indicates this recommendation would address the growing charter caseload and allow the agency to meet its obligation as a local education agency and charter school sponsor. The agency further indicates the recommendation would assist with implementation of the State Public Charter School Authority Corrective Action Plan, which was developed in response to the federal 2019 state single audit findings, which found weaknesses in the agency's internal controls and conducting risk assessments and monitoring of subrecipients for federal programs. The following table on page 4 shows the actual student enrollment from fiscal year 2014 through fiscal year 2020 and the updated projected enrollment for fiscal year 21 through fiscal year 23. And I would note that this table has been updated to reflect the recent actions of the board and reflects 5 charter schools and 7 campuses opening in fiscal year 22 and 1 campus opening in fiscal year 23. As a local agency for all purposes, which was clarified by Assembly Bill 78 of the 2019 legislative session, the agency is now required to provide training and technical assistance, conduct risk assessments, monitor the federal programs, and manage the fiscal functions of all state and federal grant programs, including those that were previously administered by the Nevada Department of Education. The agency indicates 3 of the 4 new positions would assist with grant management and the implementation of the corrective action plan. And the other new position would assist with site visits and evaluations of agency-sponsored charter schools. The following information on page 5 provides details regarding the duties and responsibilities of the new position recommended. The first position recommended by the governor is an education program supervisor position to supervise 2 existing education programs professional positions for the school support team, tasked with oversight and support of state and federal education programs, and would allow for the effective implementation of the ongoing corrective action plan and development of continuing strategies to ensure compliance with federal and state laws. The second position recommended by the governor is another education program supervisor position to supervise the local education agency grant-related fiscal function to ensure compliance with federal and state grant program regulations. The agency indicates currently 1 education program's professional position is largely responsible for managing all grant-related functions of the agency. And if this position is approved, it would work with the existing position to ensure concise grant applications are submitted to the Nevada Department of Education in a timely manner. The third position recommended by the governor is a grants and project analyst position to review and process subrecipient reimbursement requests and ensure all expenditures meet the allowable costs and objectives of the grant program. According to the agency, the growing caseload and its expanded local education agency role resulted in staff overtime and assignments not performed in a timely manner or adequate manner. In January 2020, the agency hired one full-time contract position to address a 6-month backlog in subrecipient reimbursement requests. Although the backlog has been eliminated, the agency indicates if the recommendation is approved, the contract position would still be required due to the increase in grant subawards and new emergency relief grant funds. The last position recommended by the governor, which is not related to the implementation of the corrective action plan, is one education program's professional position to conduct on-site school evaluations as required by Assembly Bill 462 of the 2019 legislative session. This person would assess the academic and performance metrics of sponsored charter schools to ensure compliance with the agency academic framework and the Nevada State Performance Framework. The agency indicates one education program's professional position is currently responsible for conducting site evaluation on all agency-sponsored charter campuses, which resulted in overtime and delays in completing evaluation reports. The agency indicates each site evaluation is conducted by a team of at least 2 agency staff members and existing staff, including the executive director, education programs director, education program supervisor, and 2 management analyst positions who are currently assisting the education program's professional position in conducting site evaluations. The agency further indicated they rarely have more than 2 staff on site due to limited staff and staff conducting evaluation, which accrued approximately 327 hours of overtime in calendar year 2020. And fiscal staff would just note on top of page 7, the decision unit inadvertently included in-state travel expenditures for 2 positions, which overstated their travel funding in fiscal year 23. So fiscal staff recommends a technical adjustment to reduce in-state travel expenditures and increase reserves by $4,766 in fiscal year 23 to correct this error. Fiscal staff would further note that the decision unit includes federal grant revenues of $331,536 over the biennium, which is incorrect per the budget manual instructions that indicate enhancement decision units should generally be balanced. So fiscal staff also recommends a technical adjustment to eliminate the federal grant revenue in this decision unit and reduce reserves by an equal amount. Fiscal staff further recommends a technical adjustment to increase federal funding of an equal amount in the base budget. During the budget hearing, the subcommittee expressed concerns regarding the agency's limited staff to conduct site evaluations, monitoring, and implementing the corrective action plan and managing the projected caseload. The agency indicates it could use additional staff, but recognizes that the state is in the middle of a financial crisis that prompted them to request positions that they only deem are most necessary. In follow-up communication with fiscal staff after the budget hearing, the agency indicated if additional resources would be provided, it could benefit from the following 3 positions. 1 additional education program's professional position for site evaluations to enable in-depth and robust site evaluations and provide additional resources to conduct site evaluations on large schools, which are regularly conducted by 3 staff members. This 1 education program's professional position, including operating expenditures, would result in reserve reductions of approximately $224,093 over the upcoming biennium. With regards to addressing the corrective action plan and caseload increases, the agency indicated it could benefit from 1 additional education program's professional positions for programs to perform programmatic oversight and another additional management analyst position for its fiscal section to provide administrative grant oversight. According to the agency, the addition of 1 education program professional position for programs would allow the agency to conduct more comprehensive annual desktop review of charter school policies, procedures, and plans, and provide more frequent technical assistance and training for charter school staff and expand on its on-site monitoring. The agency further indicated the addition of one management analyst position for fiscal or administrative grant oversight would allow the agency to conduct more comprehensive desktop reviews to ensure grant recipients comply with the federal and state requirements. The agency's request for these two new positions, if approved, would result in reserve reductions totaling $400,809 over the 2021-23 biennium. If the subcommittee wishes to approve all three positions, this would decrease reserves $602,902 over the 2021-23 biennium. Staff would note the agency would have the opportunity to approach the Interim Finance Committee over the 2021-23 biennium to establish positions utilizing its reserves. Accordingly, the subcommittee chose not to approve all the additional positions requested by the agency. The agency could still approach the IFC in the upcoming biennium and request these additional positions. So the box on page 8 provides the options for the subcommittee's consideration. A, approve 4 new full-time positions and associated operating and travel expenditures as recommended by the governor, supported by reserve reductions of $526,801 and federal grant revenue of $331,536 over the upcoming biennium, and approve the technical adjustments noted by fiscal staff. Option B is approve 4 new full-time positions and associated operating and travel expenditures as recommended by the governor, and 1 additional education programs professional position for site evaluation, supported by reserve reductions totaling $750,894 and federal grant revenue of $331,536 over the biennium, and approve the technical adjustments noted by fiscal staff. Option C is approve 4 new full-time positions and associated operating and travel expenditures as recommended by the governor, 1 additional education programs professional position for site evaluation, 1 additional education programs professional positions for programs, and 1 management analyst position for fiscal, supported by reserve reductions totaling $1.2 million and federal grant revenue of $331,536 over the biennium, and approve the technical adjustments noted by fiscal staff. Or D is not approve the governor's recommendation for 4 new full-time positions or the additional positions requested by the agency. Fiscal staff also requests authority to make any other technical adjustments as necessary. And the subcommittee may also wish to consider recommending that the full committee issue a letter of intent requiring the State Public Charter School Authority to report annually to the Interim Finance Committee on its progress in conducting site evaluation on charter campuses. On page 9, there are 4 other closing items. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll start from there.
Okay, committee members, this is the time for questions. This one's a little more complicated. There's a number of different options, and I want to make sure everyone has an opportunity to ask any questions that they have on this. In the original hearing, we did have that conversation about, do they actually have enough staff to do the site visits, to follow up with the grants, to do the programmatic work that they really need to do. We don't want to give them more people than they need, but we want to make sure that they have the resources to accomplish their mission. This is done out of reserve, so it is not general fund. So this does work out of their reserves. And I guess mine froze for just a moment. So Ms. Mangola, if you could go back, and if a number of these positions are approved, I see the $400,000 for the one group and possibly $224,000 for the other group. Where will that leave their reserves? And if you said that, I apologize, but mine froze for a moment.
If the subcommittee wishes option C, which would approve the 4 positions recommended by the governor, plus the 3 position requested by the agency, their ending reserve will be at 7.5 million in fiscal year 22, representing a 91-day level of reserve, and 8.6 million in fiscal year 23, representing a 103-day level of reserve.
And thank you very much. And also, I want to make sure that we have on the record that this isn't the only way that they can get positions. They can come to IFC to fill positions as they need them also. Isn't that correct?
That is correct, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. So, committee members, questions?
Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, this is Senator Kiekofer. I was trying to get into the Teams chat and failed miserably. Sorry.
It's best if we just speak up. I can't trust that either. So just let me know. Okay.
Thank you. So with that reserve level, obviously we're meeting targets for reserves if we go with option C. And that's based on their existing fee structure, because they currently charge a fee that's below their statutory cap, right?
That's correct, Senator. Per statute, they are allowed to charge a fee of up to 2%, but currently the State Public Charter Authority recommends, in the governor recommended budget, includes a 1.25% fee.
So that growth in reserve is from those additional schools coming online or additional campuses coming online, I would assume. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Senator Dondera-Luke, did you have a question? Did I see a hand raised?
You did not, but I will ask a question. Thank you, Chair. I would like to know, when we talk about the letter of intent requiring them to report annually, is there an option to have that report done like every 6 months, or is it only an annual report because of the way it is stated?
The subcommittee can certainly request a different reporting as they wish. If the subcommittee wishes to make it a 6 month or a quarterly report, you could do so.
Thank you very much. The reason I asked that question is because the way the school year is planned within our system, if you go from August to say June 1st, if you only get that report once a year, it could be that you will now be into the second year of something before you hear from those schools or about what's going on. So, Madam Chair, I might suggest that I don't know if it matters if we have the once a year in there. I know that in IFC that we can request those. So, but I would suggest that we might want to do that a little more often, just because it will fall so that we're into the next year and we can't make adjustments if we need to.
And thank you, Senator. I think that's a really good point with the way the school year is structured. This is kind of template language that we use when we do letters of intent, knowing that IFC can always ask for them to come back and give us a report. We can request of the Senate chair of IFC, this next interim, to put them on the agenda and have them come back and have a conversation with us. So that is appropriate. But if you would be more comfortable putting 6 months in there so that we get them, and then figuring out what date we want to start them at to make sure we get the most valuable information that we can do, we can certainly consider that. As far as the extra folks go, over the last couple cycles, the conversation has been around the site evaluations and making sure that those site evaluations get accomplished. I know they did not have the resources to do it, and we can't have a conversation about what's going on in the schools if we don't get those site evaluations done. And it was a big issue the last couple cycles. So I would be comfortable in adding that extra site evaluator to give them the opportunity to make sure that they can get out into the schools and see how things are going, especially with the changing dynamic of hybrid education and virtual, to be able to actually get those evaluations done. I'm not sure about doing all the positions, knowing that they can come back to IFC if they do need those positions. So I would be leaning towards option B, and then allowing them to come back and talk to us, depending upon what the school year next year looks like, what resources they actually need.
Madam Chair.
Ms. Severs-Gansert, Senator, yes.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So I was kind of wondering around the management analyst position, because it's my understanding they're going to have substantial federal dollars and then the interaction that they have, with their sub grants. So I agree with you that at least adding one of the program, education program professionals makes some sense, but I'm kind of wondering whether they're going to need a management analyst because of the federal dollars that'll be coming their direction.
And I appreciate that, and that's why I think allowing them to come back to IFC for that particular position, once they know what's coming, we don't know when the guidance is coming out. We don't know when the money will actually be distributed. It could be 6 months from now. I'm not sure it's necessary for the beginning of this fiscal year to have that position available, knowing that they may not need it until the beginning of the next halfway through the next school year. So I was hoping that once they got those indications that they would come back to IFC and ask for that particular position.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Any other questions from any other committee members at this time on this issue? I know we have new members, so I always want to make sure everybody's on the same page and comfortable with where we're going.
Madam Chair, Assemblyman Roberts.
Yes, Mr.
Just
Roberts.
Quick question about reserves to follow up on Senator Keycuper's question. We're at 90 days. What is a healthy reserve amount? And maybe that was mentioned, and I apologize if I missed it.
This agency typically recommends a 90-day reserve, just because they have to put they have to have cash flow, since majority of the federal grants are on a reimbursement basis. So, and this agency have had 90 days in the past legislative sessions too that was approved.
Thank you very much for the answer, and thank you, Madam Chair, for the question.
Okay. So with that, committee members, if there are no other questions or concerns on this one, I'd go to Senator Dondero-Luke.
Yes, Madam Chair, I will make a motion to accept letter B that will approve the new four full-time positions and the one additional education programs professional, along with the letter of intent outlined at the bottom of the box. And I will move that motion.
And if I could, Senator, you were looking at the letter of intent being every 6 months, not a year.
Yes, I'm sorry. And I would amend the letter of intent. Instead of yearly, I would ask that it would be every 6 months, dates to be identified.
I'll second the motion.
And your motion would include any necessary technical adjustments that staff would need to make.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much for that correction.
You're welcome. So I have a motion from Senator Dondero-Luke. I have a second. I believe that was Ms. Howdige's voice that I heard.
Yes, Chair Carlton. Correct.
Thank you very much. So we'll go ahead and open it up for discussion to the committee members.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Senator Kickerfer.
Yeah, sorry, I was reminded that I think tomorrow we do have an agenda item on IFC that's going to allocate, I think, $25 million in federal funds to these schools. So it's coming. I think if they So, I would just encourage them to think about their needs there sooner rather than later. And if they want to come to IFC early, don't be shy about doing so.
Absolutely, I wholeheartedly agree, especially since I'm not chair this time. So with that, I'm not hearing any other questions, and I'm not seeing anyone, in my view, raising their hand. So I believe we can go ahead and move forward. Staff, if you could please call the roll.
Senator Canizaro, Senator Canizaro,
Yes.
Senator Dondero Loop,
Yes.
Senator Kiefer,
Yes.
Senator Ratty,
Yes.
Senator Severs Gansert,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson,
Yes.
Assemblyman Frierson,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Gorlow,
Yes.
Assemblyman Hafen,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Howdigy,
Yes.
Assemblyman Levitt,
Yes.
Assemblyman Roberts,
Yes.
and Chair Carlton.
Yes, the motion passes unanimously of all the members present. So with that, I believe we can go on to our next item, which is the projected enrollment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, for the record, J. Marie Mangoba. So on page 9 there are 4 other closing items, and staff would just note that closing item number 4 relates to projected enrollment, and staff recommends a technical adjustment to increase charter school fees by $898,294 and increase contract services by $264,282 over the 2021-23 biennium to reflect the updated student enrollment. These adjustments would increase reserves by $634,012 over the 2021-23 biennium. Fiscal staff recommends other closing items 1 to 3 be closed as recommended by the governor, and other closing item number 4 be closed with a noted technical adjustment and request authority for staff to make other technical adjustments as necessary.
Okay. So this is the typical item that we do as far as adjusting their enrollment and how the dollars are funneled through the system, correct?
That is correct, Madam Chair.
Okay. So committee members, are there any questions on the other 4 closing items? Not seeing anyone wishing to be recognized. So with that, I'll go to Senator Dondero Loop.
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you very much. I would move to recommend that we follow the fiscal staff's recommendation of closing items 1 through 3, and those to be closed as recommended by the governor, and the other closing item 4 to be closed with the noted technical adjustment, and requests for authority for the staff to make any other technical adjustments as necessary.
Okay. I have a motion from Senator Dondero Loop. Have a second from Ms. Howdy. Saw the hand raised. Thank you very much. Questions or comments on the motion from committee members? Seeing none, staff, if you could call the roll, please.
Senator Canizaro,
Yes.
Senator Dondero Loop,
Yes.
Senator Kiefer,
Yes.
Senator Ratty,
Yes.
Senator Severs Gansert,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson,
Yes.
Assemblyman Frierson,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Gorlow,
Yes.
Assemblyman Hafen,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Howdigy,
Yes.
Assemblyman Levitt, Assemblyman Levitt,
Yes.
Assemblyman Roberts,
Yes.
and Chair Carlton.
Yes. Motion passes unanimously of the members present. So with that, I believe our next item is the Public Charter School Loan Program.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On page 11 is the Public Charter School Loan Program, and fiscal staff is responsible for developing the closing recommendations for this budget. The subcommittee has not previously heard this budget, and there are no major closing issue nor other closing items for this budget. Fiscal staff recommends this budget be closed as recommended by the governor, with authority for staff to make technical adjustments as necessary.
Okay. So with that, committee members, are there any questions of staff on this budget item? It is one of our staff closes. Not seeing anyone wishing to be recognized. So with that, I'll go ahead and go to Senator Dondera-Lupe.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I'll move that we recommend this budget be closed as recommended by the governor, with the authority for staff to make the technical adjustments as necessary.
Okay, our standard line, GovRec with technical adjustments. So I have a motion from Senator Dondera-Lupe, second from Ms. Howdigy. Questions or comments on the motion? Not hearing any, not seeing anyone wishing to be recognized. Staff, if you could please call the roll.
Senator Canizaro,
Yes.
Senator Dondera-Lupe,
Yes.
Senator Kiefer,
Yes.
Senator Ratty,
Yes.
Senator Severs-Gansert,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson,
Yes.
Assemblyman Frierson,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Gorlow,
Yes.
Assemblyman Hafen,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Howdigy,
Yes.
Assemblyman Levitt,
Yes.
Assemblyman Roberts,
Yes.
Chair Carlton.
And yes, motion passes unanimously of all the members present. Committee members, that accomplishes our mission for this morning. So did that fairly expeditiously. So congratulations to everyone. You now have a little bit of extra time this morning. So when we run late in the future, this all balances out. So thank you all very much. Our last item on our agenda for today would be to open it up for public comment. So we'll give broadcast services a moment or two to allow members of the public to call in to be able to get tuned in. So with that, we'll just stand at ease for a moment or two, and then we'll go to broadcast services.
Chair, this is Michael from Broadcast. I have one caller on the line already. Would you like me to queue them up?
Yes, please. Thank you very much.
Caller with the last three digits, 577. Please slowly state and spell your name for the record. You will have 2 minutes and may begin.
Good morning, Chris Daly, D-A-L-Y, Nevada State Education Association, the voice of Nevada educators for over 120 years. This morning, just providing some comments, following up on comments that we provided on the state public charter school authority budget from your first budget hearing. While we don't take issue with the committee's decision to add a staff person to conduct site visits, as that's been an ongoing an issue of concern in terms of charter school accountability, we do have a concern with the overall growth of the charter system in the state of Nevada. During last session, NSEA pushed for greater accountability for charter schools, including proposing a cap on charter school expansion. While that was not successful, the legislature did pass a 5-year growth management plan. Unfortunately, while deliberations of that growth management plan were happening, the Charter School Authority approved nearly 5,000 new charter slots. Now, when we look at projected growth of charter slots as reported by the Charter School Authority, 8.6% in fiscal year 22 and 15.9% growth in fiscal year 23. We see that we don't really have a growth management plan for charters. We have a growth plan for charters in Nevada. And that's an issue as we see relatively stagnant growth projections in traditional or neighborhood public schools. Charter schools, while the authority has begun to address the big biases against disadvantaged students, when looking at overall charter student populations, charter schools serve proportionally fewer at-risk students, fewer English learners, and fewer students with disabilities. And even with some progress on diversity and new charter seats, there really is no path for charters to achieve parity in the foreseeable future. So what the impact of the growth of charters means is it's really siphoning resources from traditional or neighborhood public schools. And then we see news reports during the pandemic that many charter schools gamed the system by triple dipping, taking state funds, CARES Act funds, PPP funds, now obviously looking at American Rescue Plan funds, all while playing by their own set of rules. We know that when you correct for demographics, neighborhood public schools perform as good, if not better, than charter schools. And NSEA, again, would caution this legislature to watch these budgets closely, watch the charter slots closely, and take a look at that growth management plan and make sure it's really a management plan and not an expansion plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other callers?
Chair, the public comment line is open and working. However, we have no more callers at this time.
Right. Thank you very much. So I believe that closes out public comment, and with that, it closes out our business for this morning. Thank you, committee members, for your time and attention, and we are adjourned.